Hello, I'm Chris Williams, and I'm back with yet another video and review of a comic book. This time we're invading Invaders 1. The cover for Invaders 1 is good. The artwork is great. It's very dynamic, and it shows the invaders back in World War II. Except that Namor is in his current costume. But it shows cover art by Butch Goosey. I'm not so sure if I'm pronouncing his name right, but I think I am. The artwork is very great, especially for what we have here. Inside, the interior artwork is made by both Butch Goosey and Carlos Magna. The writer is Chip Zdarsky, and he has done a remarkably good job on this first issue. Here we show Namor in the middle of World War II. He is attempting to save a couple of fallen soldiers and save them from oncoming shrapnel and artillery. He is really in pain. Apparently he has not been in water in a while, which means he is losing his strength. Here he flies into the sky, but he's too weak to stay up, so he falls once again, too drained of life. He is trying and struggling to save his friend, Tommy, someone who is very much like to him what Bucky is to Captain America. And when he looks up, he sees his friend Tommy about to be killed by Nazi troops. He looks on in horror as he can do nothing because he is still woozy and weak from his battles with the German troops. And he can't do nothing as Tommy is gunned down. He gains his strength back for a second and kills the two Germans who killed his friend. He goes over to see Tommy, to see if there's any way to save him, or at least be there as Tommy goes and dies. The artwork is really good. And as we see, Namor approaches the body. Namor holds Tommy's head as the boy passes. Namor looks at his hands and realizes Tommy's blood is on his, as well as the German troops who killed him. He falls down unconscious and is later awakened by Captain America, who gives him water. He asked Captain America to look for Tommy because he hoped what he had experienced was a dream, a fevered dream from having no water and becoming weak enough to collapse from exhaustion. No, he finds that he's woken up after the battle. Tommy is dead, and the German troops that have survived are now POWs. He can only look on in misery as that he has failed his friend. Namor is truly miserable in this moment. He has hardly ever had a friend. Now we switch to the present. Now, I have to say the artwork from Butch Goosey and Carlos Magno is really good, but this one panel with Namor waking up looks really, really kind of suspect. I mean, I've seen this artwork before, and whenever I see some panels like this, it makes make me think it's somewhat bad. But it's really good, except for some panels I feel like I'm looking at JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. But the artwork is really good. And then we switch over to Captain America, who is talking to his friend Jim, the original Human Torch, about Namor and about how Jim wants to write a book about the invaders. Jim is trying to convince Steve, Captain America, that Namor needs their help and that he's going crazy for some reason and that they should be trying to calm him down because of recent events in the different Avengers books where Namor has been killing people who he considers enemies of his country because he thinks he's in a war situation with the surface. And Captain America thinks Namor has once again lost his mind and is going to cause another war between Atlantis and the surface world. He can only tell Jim, the Human Torch, that if he needs to, that he and the Avengers will take him on. The Human Torch also tells Captain America that he is like a human and that over time, despite being an android, his memory will fade like a human's. So that's why he wants to write this book about the invaders. And Captain America once again mentions that the trouble with Namor, that there could be a war coming between him and the Avengers, and he wants to help Namor and avert any kind of catastrophe that could happen. So here he is, great artwork with a worried Steve Rogers, wondering what he can possibly do to help his friend Namor. And and this artwork looks really good. It makes him look so human. And we switch back to after the battle during World War II, where Captain America is telling Jim about he knows how painful he doesn't know what he would do if he lost his best friend Bucky. So he goes to see Namor, who's celebrating with the freed people over in a bar. He is wearing a army coat, or an army jacket, to conceal his identity, and he looks on at Namor, who is romanticizing with a French girl. And Namor is looking like he's having fun and trying to say that he's not bothered by Tommy's death. And he tells Steve Rogers, Captain America, that he doesn't care if these little meat bags are killed, that he's not human, and that he is the ruler of the sea, and he should not be bothered by the death of a mere man. Captain America says to put him down, and to get ready for Tommy's funeral. It will be held in the afternoon. He tells him to stop drinking and to stop moping and to get ready. He also notices as he goes out that his friend Bucky Barnes, his sidekick, is also trying to party and trying to forget the troubles. And he tells him to also pay his respects to the soldiers and Tommy who have died. So he says, "You too, Bucky," and that meaning that he means to get up and get out. Namor and his lieutenant, or second command, go and see a bunch of outlaw Atlanteans who have taken over a town and are basically dictators to it. And he tells them to get back into the army and do as he commands, or there will be trouble. The guy tells Namor that he's an insane half-breed, and they refuse to help him, and they cut him. This, to Namor, is a deep sin. And anyone who abuses their king like this in the Atlantean society is outright murdered, executed on the spot, is death for such an impotence. But he has new powers. Namor can now control the water, and without the water, Atlanteans will suffocate as if they were people without air. And he tells the commander of the outlaw Atlanteans that he will spare him as long as they join him. And he says, "Good," and allowing the water to rush back in. He then tells the commander that he has a plan to end all wars, and that his plan will work. We once again switch back to the 1945 or so, to Tommy's funeral, and Namor shows up in full dress uniform and pays his respects to his fallen friend. The artwork is great, and we switch once again to the future, to a soldier who was actually there at the funeral, a friend of Tommy and the invaders, who was there during the war. And Jim talks to him, and he looks at, and the man gives him photos, and he sees photos of Namor, and he also sees recent photos with of all things, Charles Xavier being there during Namor's time when he was an amnesiac during his time wandering the earth after the war. And we go on to where the invaders, the former invaders, tell everyone who was an invader, including Bucky, what happened. And we go back to the Atlanteans, and they are worried because Namor is acting unhinged. He is talking to himself, and they are thinking that they have made a terrible mistake, even though the leader of the outlaw Atlanteans says that Namor's plan will work. But they are still nevertheless worried that they are following a lunatic because he is talking to himself, and no one else can figure out why he's doing this. The leader understands his plan could very well work and bring peace to the world, but he's still worried that they are following a madman. If you like this video, subscribe, leave a comment, and leave a like. I'll see you all again soon. This is Chris Williams signing off. Bye.